guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Soph. On this channel we talk about all things books. For today's video I am doing a very small April reading wrap up. My TBR for April was Gone Girl, A Discovery of Witches, Serpent and Dove, In the Ravenous Dark, and Fire with Fire. I read 3 books in April. It's fine. You know, people can read however much they want. It doesn't really matter. I was very hopeful for April and then that all came crashing down when I got COVID. So yeah, I've mentioned this so many times so I'm not going to go into too much details, but basically halfway through April I got COVID. I was laid up for almost 2 weeks. The last thing I wanted to do was read, so that really put a spanner in the works for getting these books done, because I had chunky books. Gone Girl, Serpent and Dove, and Discovery of Witches were chunky books. So I really needed to not have COVID that month. And yeah, so honestly I tried to read multiple times because all I was doing was laying in bed, but my mind could not focus on anything that I was reading and I just really struggled. So I rested. It is what it is. I got 3 books read and that's what I'm going to talk to you about. So these are the 3 books that I managed to get done in April. You'll notice that one of them, it was not on my TBR, and you would be correct. So Serpent and Dove and Discovery of Witches were on my TBR. Gallant was not, but I did it as a buddy read with someone from work. So it's still part of this video. First book I read was Serpent and Dove. I'm quite happy that I got this on my TBR because they were all 4-star reads apparently. So I have wanted to read this for the longest of times, but I was really concerned because this book has such mixed reviews. Some people love it, some people hate it. I happened to fall into the love, which I'm really glad about. The only reason it didn't get 5 stars from me is because I feel like it was missing something. I don't know what, but it was missing something, and I feel like I really had to push myself through the book, even though I actually found it quite a fast read, but there was just something that I wasn't enjoying that was making me feel like I was dragging myself through. I honestly don't know what it is. So in this book we follow Lou and Reed. Lou is a witch, but she's left her coven for reasons that I won't say because it spoils the book. And she's living in France, I think, and Reed is part of an organisation, like a holy organisation that hunts witches basically, and due to unforeseen circumstances they end up being forced to be married, which kind of is not the best situation. But Reed doesn't know that Lou is a witch because she's really good at hiding it, and it's kind of enemies to lovers, kind of, because they are technically enemies because it's a witch and a witch hunter. They kind of go on this journey together. Reed is very respectful of her as his wife, even though they are not, like, there was no reason really for them to get married. They didn't love each other, they barely even knew each other, but he is respectful of her and they do slowly like form trust and everything, and then naturally it all kind of crashes towards the end. And then yeah, I'm not going to give too much away because the back of the book doesn't actually say that much, so you can go in this with an open mind, not really knowing what you're going to get into. But I actually really enjoyed it, and I really enjoyed the development of Reed and Lou's relationship, going from literally nothing to something. And luckily on this month, in May, I've got Blood and Honey on my TBR, so I can actually continue their story, which I am really excited for. I read this as a mixture of physical and ebook. Oh no, I didn't have to drag myself through it actually. I just remembered. I wasn't dragging myself through it. I just couldn't make up my mind as to whether I was enjoying it or not, even though I literally couldn't pull it down. Sorry, scrap the whole beginning of this video. I've just got my 2 books mixed up. This one, I was reading it and reading it and reading it, but I couldn't decide if I was enjoying it or not because, like I said at the beginning, there was just something that I wasn't sure on. Something that I was not sure if, like, it was making me not know whether I was enjoying it or not, but I don't know what it was. I literally can't put my finger on it, but I found myself constantly wanting to pick the book up, so I must have enjoyed it to some extent. And then by the end I thoroughly enjoyed it and I couldn't wait to pick up the next one, so I will be reading Blood and Honey very soon. But yeah, I think this is a really good book. I don't really know where all the issues with the bad reviews have come from. It is a young adult book, so it's nothing like out there, but I really enjoyed it. I really, really enjoyed it. So we shall see. I like that he calls her his little heathen. On my ebook, I highlighted a bunch of stuff, but I didn't actually tab the physical books. But he has a little pet name for her once they start forming the friendship, relationship things. And I loved it. So yeah, 4 stars. I really enjoyed it by the end. I'm really excited to continue the series. And yeah, I genuinely don't know what it was that was making me unsure. Like, I genuinely don't know. I cannot give you what was making me so unsure, but yeah, by the end I really enjoyed it, so it's a 4 star from me. Then we have Gallant by V.E. Schwab. This was my buddy read. I read it with someone from work. We also read Addie LaRue together, so this was like the perfect next book. I gave this one 4 stars also. This one was really interesting because every page, every chapter, I found myself with a million more questions than I had before, and I didn't feel like they were getting answered. And because it's such a short book, we were getting close to the end and I was like, how are they gonna wrap this up in the next part? But she did, she managed to. I only left with a few questions, and it could just be because I'm like low-key dumb and didn't get it, didn't get the message. So this book follows Olivia Pryor, who is an orphan, and she's living at an orphanage. She sees ghouls and stuff, but she doesn't have a voice, she doesn't have parents, and one day she gets a letter from her uncle, who she didn't know she had, inviting her home to the family estate Gallant. But when she gets there, nobody is expecting her, her uncle is not there, and her cousin does not want her to be there. And she's kind of she's kind of unraveling the story and mystery behind her mum and her dad whilst in Gallant, because she has her mum's journals, and obviously she's now staying at her mum's house, so I think she finds another journal and compares the two. But anyway, so she's kind of unraveling this history and this mystery behind her parentage and like what happened. And then there's another Gallant, a shadow Gallant, which also has some things to do with the story. It was very well written. I definitely agree with people who say that it's written like Addie. I haven't read her previous work, like Darker Shade of Magic. I do have it, I just haven't got around to reading it and things like that, so I don't know in comparison to that, but I definitely feel like it reads like Addie. I feel like it could have done with being a little bit longer and maybe a few things explained better so that people like me can understand it a little bit, because there's still a few things that I didn't fully grasp, but I feel like it might just be me being dumb and things just going like over my head. But the way things unravel through the book is really well done. It's not all like info dump at one point. As you go through, you get more questions, but your previous questions are answered. And yeah, it's paranormal as well with the ghouls and everything. So I really enjoyed it. I think it was quite good. There was something missing, which is why it wasn't a 5 star. Addie was a 5 star to me, but this was just missing something. I'm not sure what, again. I think it was the fact that I was left with questions unanswered, and I don't feel like everything like had a explanation to it. Maybe it didn't need one, I'm not sure, but that's just my thoughts. And then I have this bad boy, Discovery of Witches by Deborah Harkness. This follows a witch and a vampire. The witch, first of all, she's like a professor, a historian professor or something, and she's in a library in Oxford, and she's just like asking for manuscripts to use on her research and her work, and she calls up a manuscript that hasn't been seen in like hundreds of years, and this piques the interest of the vampire and a bunch of other creatures because it's actually a magical manuscript that is supposed to reveal how all the creatures are there. Diana the witch and Matthew the vampire end up forming some kind of friendship and then a relationship. I'm not going to give too much away just in case you haven't read it, but this book, I really enjoyed the underneath storyline, but I did not enjoy the confusion I felt every time they mentioned something so scientific and so scholarly. Like, I can appreciate how much effort Deborah Harkness put into writing this book and looking at all the texts and everything she would have had to make the facts right in this book. But there's a lot of scientific jargon and there's a lot of references to texts and manuscripts and stuff that I didn't need to read to understand what was going on, and honestly it just made me more confused because there was like words that I didn't understand. There was other languages that wasn't always explained, And it just, yeah. I really struggled to get through this book. I'm glad I did because I did enjoy it and I wanted to watch the series, which I have been watching. The series is even more disappointing, but that's for another channel. I'm not a TV reviewer. So I did enjoy it. I really enjoyed Diana as a character. She's so strong and like her world is unraveling right in front of her, but she's the strong female character lead that you need. Matthew is this dark vampire. He's supposed to be a scary vampire, but I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the dynamic of their relationship. I enjoyed the actual story present underneath all the scientific stuff. But because of all the scientific stuff and the references to all the texts and manuscripts and things like that, the wordiness, I couldn't gel with it. Maybe I'm just dumb, and because of that, that's why I didn't enjoy it. But I rated it at 4 stars, so I did enjoy it. I just wish that there was a lot less scientific ramblings and manuscripts. I won't be continuing with the series, I don't think. Not at this point anyway, because the other 2 books have even worse reviews than this one. So I have been watching the series and I'm almost on series 3, so I might as well just continue. Unfortunately, the little things that I loved in this book, like how Matthew perceives Diana and how Diana slowly starts to warm up to Matthew, and little things like a yoga class they went to, they are missing from the series. I feel like the series is really rushed. Like, it's the books. It's how the books should have been, almost. The series is like a rushed version of the book, and I understand it a lot better in the series. But there's like loads of little things that really made the books and the characters perfect for me. Those things are missing from the show, so I'm not a fan of that. But yeah, so another 4-star read. But I did really struggle to get through it. And that is my wrap up for April. It wasn't a very good one, but I'm hoping that May is a good one. I'm already like halfway through one of my books. I'm listening to an audiobook. I'm doing a buddy read and I'm reading Cursed So Dark and Lonely at the moment. So fingers crossed it's gonna be a good one, guys. But that is it for today's video. So please give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video so that I know whether I should do more wrap ups, because I don't always do them because I'm not sure. And don't forget to subscribe so that you don't miss another video. And I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys!